What up, gamers? We're back with some more modern action. I'm, of course, NanMans, bringing you all the action here every Monday and Thursday. And this week, we're starting things off with a blue-white control versus a Boros Storm. A little bit of twist on the Storm variation. Of course, let's talk about each of these decks and what they're trying to do. So, blue-white control's whole goal is to stop, delay, deny, and drag the game out and get some advantage off of things like planeswalkers and stuff like that to really stop your opponent from being able to take over the game like they want to, and it disrupts their game plan. So it's a disruption style of game plan. You win through man lands or attacking with some of your elemental creatures. You know, very, very annoying, frustrating to play against. The other side of things, a Boros Storm deck is all about casting a lot of spells in one single turn, and we're going to attempt, but Auram's Chant's going to say, no, you may not here, so that's going to put a stop to it, saying you may not cast any more spells this turn. Oh no, not another land, but 2 mana, is that going to be enough? Raw Monsoon Mage going to come out. Nope, it's not. Counterspell. Again, deny, delay, stop. That's the plan here. So the idea of the Boros Storm is you're going to be casting a bunch of spells and then have a specific payout here to help yourself out. So we're going to see, looks like Raw Monsoon Mage is going to set ourselves up, get ourselves started here, so we can kind of be in a position to basically enable the rest of our deck. Raw Monsoon Mage, Ruby Medallion, those are the ones we care about here. So strike it rich. Looks like evens we win, odds we lose, meaning evens we have the option to flip, odds we take damage. So strike it rich will resolve, and you see on the life pad there marking down mana and storm count here. So it looks like, it seems like the coast is clear at the moment because, you know, there was no fight or interaction over the Raw, but now we're starting to see it where we're going to pitch this Teferi to Solitude and attempt to get rid of it. This is a dangerous spot because we could just flip it here. On the stack, Pyretic Ritual, we're going to do a attempt to roll. Again, evens we win, odds we lose. So ETB trigger on the stack. We're going to, hey, we get a evens. So Raw will be flipped and now will be protected. There's no creatures available to hit with Solitude. Now we're going to generate 3 mana. Now we're going to be able to exile our top 2 cards. Ooh, okay, Artist Talent. A lot of Manamorphose here, but not much else to do at the moment. So looks like land will lose 2. I guess cast Artist Talent here, huh? Cost 2. Still have 2 mana, essentially, or 1 floating, 3 mana. We could level it up here or wait. I don't know if it matters to level it up at this moment. I mean, otherwise, because it's like we have 1 color or 1 red floating right now, and we could still generate 2 more, but all right, uptick Raw. Last red. Oh, Manamorphose. Yeah. Let's do that. Are we going to discard off of Artist Talent? We'll make 2 red here. It's like not going to discard. We'll just draw off Manamorphose. Cast another one. Trigger. Choosing not to discard, but we will draw. Oh, all right. Past in Flames. All this red mana we've got floating and the discount. Hey, Auram's Chant. That's fine. You may resolve your Past in Flames, but any other spells you won't be able to cast from here on out. So that's at least a delay for this turn, but it's a very scary setup for next turn. Do we get a land? Oh, no. Oh, Teferi would have been nice, too. All right, uptick Raw. Level up the talent here. So now everything is going to be discarded or discounted by 2, essentially. All right, given the... Oh my gosh. Still missed a land drop. That's tough. I mean, you have an opening hand that's like 2 lands to fairy, Orm's Chant, counter spell, solid. Like, you're feeling very good about whatever you're up against. And then this happens where you're like, I'm not playing the game at the moment. All right, Desperate Ritual. Let's generate some mana. We want to cast that Past in Flames and recast all these spells. I mean, that's the thing. That's like, oh, Wish here. Nice. So you get a card from your... that's the other thing. These Ruby Storm lists that are a Wish board, they basically become toolbox lists for the sideboard here. Hey, just in case there was a counter spell or another Orm's Chant, we're going to put a stop to that with Silence, and that's going to scoop things up here, and we'll be getting into sideboard mode for oh, there was a land on the top. A little too late there, but yeah, that was very clean lines here for a Storm player, just sort of like deal with whatever the blue-white control player was throwing their way, and then they were able to kind of just capitalize and go off. But now we get to see a little bit of what the players are going to be bringing in for sideboard here. We don't tend to have too much sideboard like footage on the channel. We just kind of cut right to game 2, but sometimes the players have their sideboards out like this, and we get to see a little bit more.
Interrupting our gameplay to let you know about our new affiliate with NerdGear. Nerdgear.gg/NanMan will take you directly to the website, and as you can see, they've got a bunch of awesome gaming accessories from playmats, life counters with the life tracks, playmat holders, and more. So make sure you do some browsing on the site, find some goodies, and then use the code NGNanMan for 5% off your entire order. But let's get back to our gameplay.
All right, let's get back to it, shall we? Game number 2 in this best of 3. Sideboards all have been completed. How will these players battle it out here? We're looking for basically the way that the blue-white control is going to be trying to attack the Storm player is going to be trying to go for more of those like delay, slow down, stop casting a bunch of spells. And our Storm player is looking for, because the way that their sideboard is set up is almost toolboxy, they might not need to bring in as much stuff. But, ooh, High Noon is really nice on a turn 2 here, because that is definitely going to stop, right? Each player can't cast more than 1 spell a turn, and your whole goal is to try to cast more than 1. Sorry. Not going to happen. Ruby Storm, though, in our enabling setup turns here for our Storm player, trying to get themselves in a position where they could try to just discount their stuff. I don't know, because they're on Boros and not like a, blue-red Izzet style Ruby Storm, I don't know if they've got any like Into the Flood Maws or anything like that to bounce this High Noon. So we're going to see how they're going to fight over this situation here. All right, again, we're just setting ourselves up here. Artist Talent. Now, Ashiok, though, being able to exile things from the graveyard is going to be really tough to deal with. Also, stopping your opponent from searching, not as relevant, but, if they have any fetch lands or things like that, that is one thing. But we see a lot of rituals. Ooh, getting rid of the Rawl is actually really nice, because even without being able to cast more than 1 spell a turn, you could still be able to set yourself up for, a nice flipped Rawl to do something here. But Valakut Awakening, we will put away some of our cards, basically just try another reset of what we've got available to us. Another Surveil land here. I mean, whatever gets pitched to the graveyard is getting exiled, so we've already got 1 Ruby Storm or 1 Ruby Medallion. We don't need a second one. Fetching for our blue-white control player. And hey, they've already doubled the amount of lands that they had game 2 compared to game 1, so things are looking up for the blue-white control player here. Also, the advantage is clearly on their side with these stack pieces out to slow down and stop the Storm player, and that is a lot of what you can expect when you're playing a Storm deck. Is Orm's Chant here. Nice. But yeah, that's a lot of what you can expect when you're in like the post game 1 action, where it's like, okay, they're going to bring in some hate. How do I navigate and work through that hate to set myself up to still win? And those are those moments where it just takes experience, because, there are outs in the deck. We just need to find them. All right, we see a Reckless Impulse doing the black and white style version of it there to exile 2 cards. You can play those. Sadly, not this turn, but right, what do we got? Okay, we did get Kahira here from our little sideboard slot there. So we'll now have a threat that we can start deploying and at least putting some pressure on our Storm player. Okay, we're actually going to Artist Talent up to 3 here. So this is going to be basically non-combat damage does an extra 2 damage. Reckless Impulse. Got a land here at least. Yep, that gets exiled. Grape Shot next turn, though, can help us kill the Kahira, could help us kill the Ashiok, and at least free up our graveyard. It still makes it tough for us when we're casting 1 spell a turn, though. So, in case you all are wondering about other gameplay stuff we've got coming up on the channel, on Saturday, the last Saturday of the month will be additional gameplay. This Saturday we've got standard gameplay. And then we're kicking up with the first week of the month, always going to be MTGO content. And then after that, we're going to be doing some legacy content coming up at the end of the month. But we also have some coverage that we're going to be doing for a European tournament coming up. So we'll see about maybe getting some of the VODs for that to be able to post up on the channel for y'all to be able to enjoy. But definitely something worth keeping an eye out. It is going to be, EU time, so that is a little bit tough for some people. But any of you night owls or people that get up super early, that might be something to check out. But counter spell gonna put a stop to Grape Shot. That is annoying and frustrating to have to deal with. But we kind of we're seeing the blue-white control player basically in a spot where they're like, yeah, we're doing the thing. Manamorphose here. Let's draw a card. Yeah, the hand's not really... Okay, the Valakut's going to help us. Yeah, Valakut Awakening normally costs 3. Gets a -2 discount off of our, of course, Ruby Medallion and Artist Talent. And looks like we're just going to do a brand new hand, looking for something. We're digging. We're trying to find something here. There's got to be some way for us to get out of this situation. But I'm not sure what it is yet. Because again, like if you're playing Izzet, you get like into the Flood Malls and stuff like that. There's got to be enchantment interaction, right? You would think. Ooh, subtlety here. Looks like we're just going to try to get ourselves some threats. And with Kahira out, this becomes a 4/4 with Vigilance. All right? Other elementals get +1/+1 and have Vigilance. So a 7 life swing here. Okay, and we have the High Noon that we could blow up and deal 5 damage. So we're basically saying you have 1 turn. Here's 7. All right, Ren's Resolve. Ooh, Orum's Chant. That's nice. Okay, so we buy ourselves a turn. Yeah, there's a Solitude here. Looks like, yeah, we're going to make as many creatures onto the battlefield as possible. All right, untap, upkeep, Orum's Chant, kicked. You may not cast spells, and you may not be able to attack. Lots of lands. We found all the lands. They, I guess, have been all clumped up since we saw last time. All right, Ashiok going. Millen. Attempt to make some mana. Just kidding. Because of the stack pieces, you cast Orum's Chant this turn. We'll just rewind it. Reverse. Illegal game action. Ooh. Is that the out? I think it's the out. Did you see what it is? Flage, Titan of Fire's Fury here. So we can blast and destroy Kahira here for 5 damage technically because Artist Talent. We will gain 3 life. Because it's not like gain life equals the amount of damage done. It's whenever it enters, you deal 3 damage and gain 3 life. So we just up that damage count to 5, but we still only gain 3. But there's only 6 damage on the board, plus the High Noon that can get blown up. Wait, is High Noon able to do it to players? I thought it is, right? Sack this enchantment, deals 5 damage to any target. Yep, that makes sense. And the thing with the Flage in the graveyard, you know, it's not going to be easy to escape with only being able to throw 1 spell a turn. So, but us casting a spell, so if we use our Desperate Ritual on the blue-white control player's turn, we can discard a card with Artist Talent, draw a card. So that's basically 2 cards in there. But it's still, I don't know. I don't see... Yeah, there's the Ashiok. Oh, Flage number 2. That's all the Flage is gone. So, Dampening Sphere, just in case. Extra stacks pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we've got 5. We got plenty of mana. Pop the High Noon. Deal 5 to him. Yeah. Manamorphose. Draw a card. Pass turn. Alright. Bring the beats. Nice. Our blue-white control player was like, I was waiting for the orange chant, but it never came. I was waiting for you to do it one more time. All right, tied up 1-1 going into game number 3 here. We had a little bit, you saw that like, oh, wait a minute. My Pokemon is missing. I got to get Kahira out and put it in the sideboard there. Or in the companion slot. Sorry. I think this is a good spot for our Boros Storm player to be on, you know, game 3, going first, right? That's always a good spot to be in. We saw all the hate and stacks pieces from our blue-white control player in game 2, and they're going to be looking for that same sort of thing here in game number 3. Oh, it looks like we're both fetching. All right, Surveillance coming out for both players. Surveillance 1, Surveillance 2. We already have an Orange Chant in hand, which is nice. Because, again, you want these like effects that are going to slow and stop your opponent from doing things. So then you could just go off and spam spells. Hey, our first enabler. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Yeah, there it is. Force a negation, Days Undoing going away, but also dealing with the enabler is really nice. Sets back the Storm player for a little bit here. Do they have a Rawl or somebody else to follow up the enabling? Because that's going to be very important. It helps reduce your stuff so you can spam as many spells as possible, because a lot of the spells that you need cost 2 mana, right? Your rituals all cost 2 mana. Your you know, exile type effects, Ren's Resolve, you know, Reckless, Impulse, those cards all cost 2 mana. Which also, if you're thinking about, if you're running like a Chalice type deck, 2 mana is the perfect amount to call when it comes to this type of deck. It's basically all two drops dot deck. And there is a Rawl now in exile here. So will we... I mean, if we get an Orange Chant, we could Orange Chant and stop our opponent from playing the Rawl this turn. Or next turn, sorry. Let's see, though. Surveil. Gonna find the one of Thundering Falls here. I mean, there's a Teferi in hand. Okay, whatever it is on top, we're keeping. Let's see what it was. Oh, consult the star charts. Okay. I like the Teferi play here, even if it's just like Teferi draw a card. Oh, we have an Ashiok. Okay. Players can't search, so no more fetch landing, and we get to at least deal with what's in the graveyard so far. Get rid of... Okay. 2 enablers, some mana. Let's see. Rawl? Alright, do we dump? Is it time? Dump the hand? Desperate Ritual? I mean, we know the ritual's getting cast, for sure. And we're sitting with another Days Undoing, but no Narset at the moment. It looks like we just have a bunch of mana, but nothing to do with it yet, right? I think that's the debate. But I guess casting it... Trigger. Do we flip evens and odds? All right, we'll take one. Remember, evens you're safe, odds you're hurting yourself. Oh, we do have one. Okay, we've got a Ren's Resolve here. Go down to 1. Oh, take another point of damage. But maybe get some payout stuff here. Artist Talent. Strike it rich is nice. So what is that? 2 instants and sorceries so far cast this turn. Artist Talent. Two triggers for Strike It Rich. Do we want to discard? Ooh, we could flip here. Not going to, but we're going to discard and draw. Got another ritual here. I think that's the other complicated thing with the Storm is like there's so many moving pieces with the deck. You have to sit here and manage how much mana you're floating. You have to manage how much storm count you're generating, and you have to manage how many instants and sorceries you're casting when you potentially flip Rawl here. Despot Ritual. Double triggers. We'll discard and draw first. And then we'll roll the die. Ooh, okay. Orm's Chant. Does get a win the flip. Are we flipping now? Or are we going to hope for the best off the Desperate Ritual? So Orm's Chant resolves. We basically are just increasing our number to try to get Rawl as high as possible with the Instant Sorcery count. So yeah, it looks like we're not flipping there, but we're probably flipping off this here. Because what is that? I lost count. I lost track. 3 rituals, a Ren's, and a chant. So what, 5 extra loyalty? Okay, yeah. 7 mana. Or 7 loyalty here. Uptick now to 8. So next turn we were basically 1 short from being able to really go off here. Okay, at least with the Ashiok here, we can get rid of all of those cards in the graveyard. So if there is a, Past in Flames coming up, we can stop that from happening here. But, I mean, Teferi could bounce the Artist Talent and draw a card. We have no way of interacting with the Ashiok, or with the Rawl at the moment. All right, lots of mana gone. Oh, Dampening Sphere will help a little bit here. Yeah, very smart about tapping mana because Dampening Sphere does make the Mysticate not generate more mana.
Even though it's a filter land, it still says, oh, this would produce 2 mana. No, it does not. All right. And we're going to be revealing top 8 and exiling them. Any instant sorceries in that pile, you may cast for the price of for free. Now, in this case, they will cost all 1 more based off of the stuff. So, lots of lands. Looks like a Flage gone. Can't cast it. So, all right. 2 wishes though could determine this game. Ooh, okay. Prismatic Ending here as our first spell. Consult the star charts, digging for a Force of Negation. No. So we got 4 lands. We're going to pick one of those. Goes to our hand. The rest go to the bottom. No Force of Negation on the top. That's going to hurt. All right, let's see. Can we navigate this here? All right, this is Storm Count 3 right now. 2 wishes going to be going on to the stack. What do we got? A Past in Flames. So we look through our board on what we're going to get. You see the stopover at Grape Shot and Empty the Warrens here as our 2 storm payouts. All right. Ritual. So we're basically sequencing this as if the wishes were still in the stack right now. Technically they've resolved, and we need to finish resolving them before doing all this stuff. But we're playing casually at the shop at our weekly tournament. It's not an RCQ. It's not a big tournament, so we're up to 5 storm count right now. All right, so we're counting, making sure our mana count is correct. There we go. All right, 6 red floating currently. 5 spells cast so far this turn. Can we generate the most? So we're, again, looking at what we can wish for. Still looking at the payouts. Grape Shot right now is not enough to kill. And we're limited on what we can get from our graveyard because of Ashiok constantly exiling stuff. Okay, strike it rich. 6 spell. Make a treasure. Flash it back. Remember, everything costs 1 less. Was that 7? Ooh, Empty the Warrens. This spell plus 8 copies. Storm count. I thought storm count was 8. Right? Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So storm count is 8. So we made 8 copies of this spell. We're going to put 2 goblins onto the battlefield, 2 1/1 goblins, and then we're going to copy this 8 times. So it's basically a total of 9 goblins twice. So is there a board wipe? Did we keep in any of the board wipe? We did not. Oh, there's the High Noon. Oh, 1 turn too late. Oh gosh. Yeah, I don't think the Teferi over the Dampening Sphere would have made a difference there. So yeah, it looks like goblins taking over, winning it out with the Boros Storm, winning it with the ability to just kind of swarm out, generate a bunch of mana in 1 turn. The Dampening Sphere getting
getting got by the prismatic ending. So we got to see a little bit of the cards that are brought in to deal with the enchantment and artifact hate through stuff like that, which is really nice. So now we get to start seeing some of the sideboard stuff of what these players brought in, what they're utilizing. So Rest in Peace would have been nice there. Ashiok, High Noon, Dampening Sphere. All right, sideboard looking better. Yeah, it looks like the Phlages are in the side here. I like that. What other goodies I got? Talking about the prismatic game. Oh, yeah, okay, so all the Supremes were in the sideboard. Because it makes sense. You're like, there's not really any creatures that I'm attacking here. I need the hate, and then you get got by the goblins, which isn't always the case, but you know, that's the important thing where players have played the deck and they've learned the lines to go, Grape Shot isn't enough to kill here, and if I do Grape Shot now, it's not going to be it. So I need to find a way to generate enough threats to kill you or pressure you, and the Empty the Warrens was a perfect line to be able to get there. So very exciting way to start off the week with some Control versus Storm. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Of course, we got lots more gameplay action for you to be able to enjoy on the channel every Monday and Thursday, as well as the sprinkling of content on Saturday. So make sure you guys are following along and checking out all that great stuff. But that's going to do it for us here today. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching, y'all, and I'll see you all next game.